probably one of the last people I would have ever expected to get cancelled. Richard Ayoade falls victim to cancel culture mob over review of Graham Linehan memoir. The IT crowd star has come under fire from trans activists on social media. Richard Ayoade, along with Jonathan Ross, have become the latest stars to face the furor of trans activists. The uproar sparked by the duo stems from the fact that they, along with a series of other comics, decided to review a book authored by outspoken comedy writer Graham Linehan. And for anyone that doesn't know, Richard Ayoade played Moss on Graham Linehan's IT crowd. That's how they know each other. And IT crowd is... It's great. It's a good classic British comedy. Linehan has long been targeted by trans activists for his views and even had his Edinburgh Fringe shows cancelled by venues following attacks by online mobs. The Father Ted creator has decided to put his real-life experience of falling victim to cancel culture onto paper with the release of his upcoming book, Tough Crowd. Linehan announces the news of his book on social media on Wednesday evening, and the front cover features reviews from both Ayoade and Ross. A must-read book, funny and utterly compelling, Ross's verdict read, while Ayoade penned, his brilliance in prose is equal to his brilliance as a screenwriter. Sorry, I'm still very sick. Images of the book's front cover were soon bandied among activists online after being ripped apart by mobs who've condemned the TV personality's decision to critique Linehan's work. I mean, that's hardly surprising. They complain about literally everything. So... I stopped caring a long time ago. One example of the outrage came from a Twitter user who fumed, I guess Richard Ayoade can go on the list of people who I used to like, but now I think are... oh, fucking hell. But now I think are twats. Long list, long fucking list. Yeah, well, who cares? Like, genuinely, who cares? Not Richard Ayoade. Anyway, I've noticed there's been a little bit of a shift happening with Graham Linehan. There has been a bit of a shift. I'll save it for the end, though. A second hit out, Richard Ayoade and Jonathan Ross both aligning themselves with a transphobe. Just fucking kill me, honestly. I mean, we won't need to. You probably do that yourself eventually. While a third account penned, LGBTQ plus fans have been shocked and disappointed to discover that along with the usual collection of well-known transphobes, Graham Glinner Linehan's new book contains an endorsement from Richard Ayoade. Ayoade has not publicly endorsed transphobic or anti-LGBTQ plus bigotry before. And the fourth rage, this is genuinely so upsetting for many people, including myself. Many Ayoade fans are queer. His weirdness and awkward screen presence are such a lifeline for people who think they are too, are weird and different. Weird and different. What an odd thing to say. Also, fuck Jonathan Ross too, but not surprised, the outraged social media user concluded. Now, the key here is these people complaining online. The key is to not care. Just don't care. I don't give a... Dankula released a book, but I don't care. Buy my book. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. Maybe it's because I'm used to it, because I have people bitching about me online, like, constantly. I still get the whole, he's literally a Nazi, he's this, he's that. I also get the whole, he's literally in the Masons and all that stuff, that whole fucking thing, which I'll admit is actually quite funny. It is quite funny that people think that I would be a member of Israel's biggest fan club after Nazi punk. But the key is to just not care, right? Whenever you're in the spotlight in any sense, in any aspect, you could be, Brad Pitt, or you could just be like a local town councillor or whatever. As soon as you're in the public sphere in any way whatsoever, you're going to get shit tons of people online who are going to bitch and moan about you. That's just what happens. That's what people do. A lot of people see as celebrities, that's what they're for. I'm not saying I'm a celebrity. I'm more infamous than famous. But you know what I mean. They go, oh, there's a person. There's someone who's like famous or well-known or whatever. Fuck that guy. And there's people who just do that. That's just the way it is. There's not much you can do about it, but apart from not giving a shit what they have to say. Despite the vitriol spewed by those angered online, others did rush to support the IT crowd star, with one person arguing, so many people saying Richard Ayoade is a bad man. I see someone who has supported his friend when so many did not, put himself in the firing line and not gone missing when he easily could have. It's beyond time to remember that friendship isn't endorsement, but friendship. I see anything but a bad man. What was it they said in John Wick 4? Friendship doesn't mean anything when it is convenient. Yeah. Well done to Ayoade for having the stones for it, because I mean he knew full well, oh, if I say this or do this, like it's gonna kick the hornet's nest. It's gonna kick the badly make-upped Adam's apple hornet's nest. Well, a second echoed, all the gender cult lunatics getting sad about Richard Ayoade's glowing review of Glenner's book has really made me want to buy it, so I think I will. I thought that was the end of the article there. Linehan himself has been vocal on the social media platforms since announcing the news of his book, responding to both backlash he's endured and the praise coming his way in equal measure. He even decided to poke fun at the uproar activists on Twitter are levelling at Ayoade and others who'd reviewed Tough Crowd. Trans activists right now hashtag Tough Crowd, Linehan wrote, alongside the image of Dougal and Ted from Father Ted taking part in an unsuccessful protest. His memoir is set to hit shelves on October the 12th. A representative for Ayoade declined to comment when contacted by GB News. Right. So Ayoade was just supporting a friend. Ayoade is someone that I do actually really like. He seems to like avoid politics in its entirety. Like he gets on a lot of those BBC panel shows where 90% of the jokes are like, "Oh, Tories, am I right?" And it's horrible and unwatchable. But there were few people that you were able to watch. Sean Locke was one of them. Unfortunately, you know, he's passed away, and he was one of the best. Like, see, anytime it was 8 out of 10 cats or anything like that, most of the shows I wouldn't bother with. But if I saw that Sean Locke was part of, or Richard Ayoade was part of the lineup, that's when I would go, oh, okay. Like, it would make me watch the episode. But like, one thing I'll say, I'm not saying anything whatsoever about Richard Ayoade's politics. I'm not saying anything whatsoever. I just want to point out a particular trend, right? If there are any comedians or famous people that you know of, right, who, when it comes to politics, they don't talk about it at all. They don't tweet about it. They don't comment on political stuff. You know, they just don't talk about it. They talk about their work, their comedy, their music, you know, maybe drama events and like the celebrity sphere, you know, basic bitch news, like that type of stuff. They'll talk about all of that and make comments on it, but they won't talk about politics or hotbed issues at all. Now, there's two reasons behind that. One is they just can't be bothered with a headache. They don't want to do what so many others have done and just cut a line right down the middle of their fan base, because things are so polarised right now that as soon as you lean, you know, one way or the other, unless you're like me, like I would say about 90% of my audience are like right-wing libertarians and stuff like that. 10% are probably like the sensible, normal, regular leftists from like the 90s, like those ones. But whereas if you're a big mainstream figure, you've probably got a 50-50 split. So as soon as you announce what side of the fence you're on and you start saying some stuff, you've immediately cut away half of your audience. Like, some of them will probably still watch you, but a lot of them won't, and you'll get a lot of shit online. And then word will start to spread, and if you lose half your audience, you know, in a short period of time, that can spell bad news for your career. So a lot of famous people just decide, yeah, I'm not going to talk about it, I'm just going to stick to the work, which is fine. No problem with that at all. Or it's because they're right-wing too, and they kind of panic because they know what that means when you're in the mainstream. If you are a right-wing comic or right-wing celebrity, blah, 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 in the mainstream, unless you're like nuclear level, like famous, right? Unless you're nuclear level, if you're nuclear level famous, you'll probably be fine. Right, Ricky Gervais, or not, I wouldn't call Ricky Gervais right-wing. I wouldn't call him right-wing at all. But you know what I mean? Like, he's going to be all right. Richard Ayoade, not so much, so he's not going to say it because he's like, I don't want the shit. I don't want to not get invited on panel and talk shows anymore. I need to do this for my job. And the reason I know this is because I've had a bunch of people, even rappers, I don't know why rappers were messaging me. I've had celebrities, rappers, mainstream comics and stuff like that who I've had a conversation with. Big YouTubers and all that as well, who basically, I don't know what it is, I'm like this wee weird agony aunt they have, where I had a YouTuber and it was just hilarious having, I'm not going to say who it is, you know, I'm not a fucking snitch, but it was hilarious. It's difficult to explain why it was so funny. Right. Picture Markiplier. It wasn't Markiplier. I've never ever spoken to Markiplier, right? But picture someone like Markiplier, you know, the family-friendly, you know, the kids love him, young fan base type of guy. Picture someone like him. Again, I can't stress enough, it was not Markiplier. Picture someone like him coming into your DMs and going, I think the vaccines are a lot of bullshit. like, like, oh, I wish I could say who it was because it's 100 times funnier than Markiplier. But picture that happening, and then I'm like, wow, and I'm just talking away to them and stuff like that, and we'll have a chat and a conversation. That's happened to me with YouTubers, rappers, fucking a footballer. For some reason, I don't know why, but we ended up having a conversation about like the football songs Americans and the English probably won't understand, but football songs in Scotland is a very hotbed topic. Too long to explain. But basically, yeah, that's the problem that you're having. Comedians and celebrities either just don't want the fucking fuss, or they want nothing to do with it, or they know if they say their actual opinions, which are milk toast at best, they know that it's going to damage their career and immediately alienate half of their fan base, which is bad news for the career, and these guys have got, wives, children, mouths to feed, blah, 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 which I totally get and I understand. But I have noticed there has been a massive shift with Graham Linehan. Because just the other week, there was like this big journalist but celebrity type person, I forget his name, posted a massive apology to Graham Linehan. Posted a huge apology when he said, he kind of went, okay, I didn't understand how bad things were. I didn't understand how far the trans activists have taken things where it's now full-on calls for violence and incitement and all this other horrendous stuff. They're an authoritarian group. Graham Linehan, I am sorry. And I was like, God damn, that's a fucking good apology. That was really good. And all that. And like more and more people are coming out now because a lot of people are starting to realise that the trans activists are just absolute fucking maniacs, and you're not allowed to call them out or do anything against them whatsoever. They're allowed to walk up to you and scream in your face, kill TERFs, kill TERFs, kill TERFs. And if you say, get out my fucking way, like, you'll be the one that gets arrested, right? People are realising how bad this shit is getting, right? And I think Richard Ayoade dipped his toe a little bit. I'm kind of on, like, Graham's side. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. But I mean, that's a good mate. That is a good mate. The fact that he did that and the fact that he's getting shite. Well, I don't really care. I just hope he powers through it because I do think he's a very funny comedian.